One.
Hi, thank you so much, Grace. I'm doing chapter 15, the demonstration portion. A demonstration speech is a speech where you show the audience the process, the steps, and how to do certain things. The difficulty with it is, it's a lot of steps to do. You have to be very cautious about how things are set up, because a lot of times they're under time constraints like mine currently is. So, in the case of a cooking portion, which I'm going to do for you today, you have to make sure all your stuff is properly portioned out, right sizes, everything's ready to go. That way, once you get to the actual speech, all you're doing is adding it and moving on forward from there. Always keep the safety of your audience in mind. You don't want to be throwing stuff at people. You don't want to be throwing raw meat at your cameraman. Hi, Dad. The challenging part is make sure you have all the tools ready to go. You want to make sure it's quick, precise, but also clear and accurate. So today, I'm going to do a little cooking show for you. My inner Paula Dean. So the first thing you want to do is mix your dry ingredients. I'm doing a dry rub for ribs. I'm not much of a sauce guy when it comes to ribs. I like the rib flavor and the seasoning that you use. So we're going to start out with a tablespoon and a half of salt, a tablespoon of black pepper. I'm going to add a little bit of smoked paprika. It adds a really nice smoky flavor to ribs that really gives it this nice in-depth flavor. More to come out. There we go. And everybody's palate's a little bit different. Some people don't like spicy food. Most people in my family, especially my sisters, love spice. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of spice, a little bit of cayenne pepper into my dry rub. And also, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge sauce guy. I don't like sweet barbecue flavors, but I like the sweet kind of aspect to ribs. So I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of brown sugar to my dry rub. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to mix everything together. You don't want clumps, especially with the brown sugar. It's very clumpy. You also don't want to add kind of vegetable-esque kind of flavors to a sweet dry rub. You don't want to add garlic. You don't want to add onion powder because it really dims the sweetness and kind of takes away from that really nice brown sugar flavor that you want. So once everything's mixed together, it's this nice brownish red kind of color. What you can do next is you're going to put butter on the ribs. What the butter does, it seals in that meat. It's not necessarily for flavor. It adds a little bit, but not a whole lot. What it'll do is when you cook it, it's going to sear the outside of the ribs with that butter and seal in the juices, make a really nice, juicy kind of rib. Now I'm going to grill these. A lot of people like to either smoke them. I don't have a smoker, which is why I add smoked paprika. Or do them on the oven. Oops. When you do them in the oven, the problem with that is it has to sit for a long time to cook. To get a really nice tender oven rib, you have to start at 250 degrees for 5 to 10 hours to get it fall off the bone. On the grill, it just adds a nice kind of flavor to it. It's not sticking very well. So I'm just gonna put it on here. It'll melt once you get onto the grill. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you want to very evenly add the dry rub. You don't want clumps on places. You don't want, some places being under-seasoned, some places being over-seasoned. You want it all to be perfectly seasoned. So get it all over here. I'm going to flip it over. Take some of that butter with me to the other side. Flip it over and add the butter. A lot of people take this membrane off the back. I don't think you should. Good, same deal. You want to keep all those juices inside the rib to make it really nice and juicy. I want to season all this too. Like I said, you want to get nice and even everywhere you want, just because nothing worse than having one spot that's over seasoned and one spot that's under seasoned. There's nothing worse than partially under seasoned food. Now, what we can do is we're going to set the grill to 500 degrees to start for at least 20 minutes on one side. What that does is it creates that seared seal on the meat that's going to keep those juices in there, keep it really kind of juicy, tender ribs. Then we're going to flip it over one time. If you keep flipping it over, you're at the risk of losing the juices. So you want to flip it over one time, turn the temperature down to about 400 degrees or so, and let it sit for another 20 minutes. Then they're fully cooked. You can cut into the rib. Check by if it's red or not, if it's done. Let it sit for about 20-25 minutes, and you can sit here, eat your ribs, and watch football with your dad. Thank you so much for coming.